According to the latest European forecast, Germany could see a slight GDP contraction in the third quarter of this year. As a consequence, the Eurozone would barely grow, and the balance of the risks, including trade tensions and the possibility of a disorderly Brexit, remains decidedly to the downside. To discuss this, but even more, we are here in Brussels with the German Finance Minister Olaf Scholz. So, Minister, many thanks for being with us. How close we are to a real recession?
We are not close to a real recession. We have slower growth. This is something which has to do with trade tensions worldwide. And anyone knows that if these tensions cease, we will have a completely different scenario. It is man-made problems, as Christine Lagarde said when she was the head of the IMF. And if I look at the messages we get from the debates between China and the United States, it looks like that they will come to a solution, and this will have a good impact on the development of the world economy. On the other hand, if you look at Europe or at Germany, we'll find that there is still a very stable economic situation. And if you especially look to Germany, you find also that there is an all-time high of employment, that there are a lot of branches that are looking for skilled labor. If some 100,000 people from somewhere would knock at their doors, they would be employed immediately. And we have, for instance, in the construction industry, a lot of problems coming from the fact that they are not able to serve all the demands they have.
Many argue that Germany has still fiscal space to use in order to boost growth and domestic demand. Do you see the need of raising wages or tax cuts so that really boost all this environment?
It is a little bit a theoretical debate. I sometimes have the idea people just read the papers they wrote down 5 years ago without looking at reality. We have a very expansionary financial policy, an all-time high in public investment. We will continue to have this in the next years, and this will be also supported by the newest decision of the government on fighting climate change. This will be an extra 150 billion investment in the next 10 years just to tackle this question.
So you don't see any need of taking measures or preventive measures? You describe a picture that it's not really identical to what we see around Europe or the world.
We have lowered taxes for low and middle income households. We now abolish a tax which was we take from the people since 1990, since the beginning of the 90s, just to finance unification of Germany. And so there are a lot of impacts for the German economy are happening. And if you look at the figures, you see this helps really. It's a part of stability for the German economy.
Let's move to another issue that came as a surprise, actually also here in Brussels, which is your proposal about completing something that it's on the papers for 7 years now, the banking union. And we've seen in your proposal that also you moved from what was traditionally a German red line, this deposit insurance scheme. It means that now is it the time that Germans, in case of a new crisis, are ready to pay, to save, like weakest member states' banks?
No one should stick just behind his walls. We have to understand that building a banking union is a real big task. And the first view we should have is the view to the United States. This is a big country with a banking union, and we should learn from them what we do need if we want to have something like this in the European Union. And the view should be about the complete banking union, and then we should define the steps to get there, and not just to discuss about the one step or the other step and then doing nothing, which has been the case for the last years.
Is your proposal personal thoughts, or is it an official government position?
It was my idea that we have to reopen this scenery, and that we should discuss about all the necessary elements of a banking union. For instance, we need something that is working with the smaller banks similar to the FDIC in the United States. We need a solution for the questions of insolvency of banks. We cannot have completely different regulations in any country on these questions.
Is there something really at stake? Is the banking system of Europe not safe enough?
If we start now with a debate which is not going on in the same way as in the past, just anyone is reading his papers and doing nothing, it will take some time to get the compromise solution. And afterwards it will be hard work to produce the legal text and to do all the necessary work to get it. And so better we start now as in a crisis which we do not have and which we do not face yet.
And let's go to some politics. You are also a candidate for the SPD leadership. We know that the SPD has lost ground during the last election process. Do you still really support this coalition with the Conservatives?
We are in a coalition with the Conservative Party because it was not possible to form another government after the last elections. Anyone knows that this is not an easy coalition, and that anyone knows also that after the next elections it obviously will be not a continuation of the now government.
The people, for example, your voters, think that you are so much the same with your coalition partner. That's why I'm asking you if you still support or you want to see another way for your party.
The party will take a decision in December on its Congress about the question. I'm absolutely sure that anyone knows that if you are in a government which is doing what it is agreed upon, you cannot just say, I go, without a reason.
And a last question for a very strong debate here in Brussels, which is the European budget. You are ready to give something more in this budget from now on. Is the 1% the absolute red line?
This is what many countries, even Germany, propose to understand that this is even an increase in the money we spend. And now we will see what is going on. And I hope that an agreement could be reached earlier than in the German presidency, not because we will not be able to make to find a solution together with the others, but it would be too late because the next multi-annual financial framework would start 2021, and if we just agree on this 7 years period in October or November or December the next year, many projects will be postponed, and this would be a pity.
Minister Scholz, many thanks for this interview.
Thank you.